May I greet you all, colleagues. With great honor and humility, I take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to Durban University of Technology. On behalf of our DUT people, council, management, staff, students, and our alumni, let me thank you for your very wise choice. You have joined a great university, one that is a rocket to space where very few ever land. Congratulations and welcome. At the outset, may I request you to take some time out of your busy schedules to either read or listen to the varied messages I've communicated to our community, and in particular to our new staff members. In a previous message to new staff, I borrowed from a renowned author and intellectual, Peter Evans. I borrowed a powerful parable about two lions that escaped from the zoo. The first lion ran into the forest, was traced within the shortest possible time, and returned to the zoo. The second lion ran into a government building and began to maul officials without anyone noticing. Unfortunately for it, one day it mauled the tea maker in that government building. Only then did surviving officials realize there had been a problem in the building. Take this as constituting part of your learning trajectory during your sojourn at DUT. As my second referral for your learning, we have also published a series of messages and videos that focus on Envision 2030, broken into all four perspectives and their constituent strategic objectives. As part of my third referral, I urge you to read our annual reports and all information and facts we publish in various DUT documents and through channels of communication that highlight our collective and individual efforts towards DUT's trajectory to greatness. We are a university, after all. Reading is part of our culture. In his book, The Idea of Higher Education, Ronald Barnett says something quite precocious and remarkable. Paraphrasing him, he says, higher education is actually not even about just learning. Instead, it's about how what is learned, researched, and experienced is embedded deep and then transformed into something new and innovative that never existed before, with regard to our knowledge base, with regard to our experiences, our behaviors, amongst others. Higher education is thus inimical to passive engagement with texts. Higher education is inimical to intellectually unexplored experiences. Higher education is inimical to unproblematized practices and behaviors. One of the channels we use for our communication at DUT is what we call iminingo, essentially my musings as Vice Chancellor and Principal. I hope you are or will soon become aware of iminingo. Let me borrow from an edition in which I reflected briefly on what happened in most parts of KwaZulu-Natal and some parts of Gauteng in July this year, 2021. We fully understand that DUT and its people are impacted by society positively or negatively, progressively or retrogressively. In our quest to impact society positively and progressively, we have to dig deep in our minds and hearts and souls and guard our behaviors and actions. It's against this background that our very first two strategic objectives are about what we call lived values and also institutional culture. Our collective morality or amorality derives from this, amongst others. We must all have noted the decline of the moral fiber of our society and the ascendancy of evil over good, of irrationality over rationality, of amorality over morality. Over the years, this has manifested not only in the rising lack of accountability and widespread corruption, but also in how people behave and live their daily lives. Sometimes, in a quest to project amorality on all of us. Some may argue that we are simply a microcosm of our society in terms of the values our staff and students bring. But let's rather be that microcosm of the right people who transform our societies and economies, rather than those who help in our society's degeneration. To make more sense of this quote, let me return to the point I made in the introduction and problematize it for you. I'm proud to say you have joined a great university. Be that as it may, you might have heard the phrase, every positive contains within it the negative and vice versa. Simplified, that we are a great university, a point I will also return to shortly, does not denote we do not have some elements and pathologies that are repulsive and ugly. There are many of those. I'm sure you have become aware of some of them. That for 14 years we have had lecturers refusing to read towards master's degrees betrays some of these repulsive and ugly pathologies. The bare minimum requirement for a lectureship at our universities is a master's degree. In fact, so many leading and even not so leading universities already have a doctorate as a minimum. Yet, rather unashamedly, some of us continue to argue they should be left alone with their diplomas and bachelor's degrees to teach our students towards their diplomas and bachelor's degrees too. At the turn of the 20th century, William Butler Yeats authored the poem titled The Second Coming. The first stanza concludes with the following lines, and I quote, "The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of intensity, passionate intensity." End of quote. While you have joined a university that is steadily growing and surely on its upward trajectory, we still have elements that drown the ceremony of innocence. When the university faces paralysis because of the repulsive and the ugly pathologies, and because the worst amongst us are full of passionate intensity about these pathologies, its core business, teaching and learning, research and innovation, tends to suffer. When that happens, the future of our students is dimmed. When you dim the future of our students, you deny the country of her deserved growth and prosperity. Some of us shall not lack any conviction on this. What then makes us believe we are on a trajectory to greatness? Just recently, we received news that DUT retained its top 500 global rating in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2022. In this ranking, DUT remains in the top 5 of all South African universities for the second consecutive year, the first time having been in September 2020. In the citation category, DUT was ranked first in South Africa and 12th in the world. The Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2022 include more than 1,600 universities across 99 countries and territories from across the globe. Trusted worldwide by students, teachers, governments, and industry experts, the annual list is highly respected and credible. The ratings are calculated by the standardized performance indicators that measure an institution's performance across 5 areas: teaching, research, knowledge transfer, citations, and the international outlook. Recently, DUT earned another global ranking when we featured in the top 100 for ethical value and in the top 300 for all institutions of higher learning in the world's universities with real impact 2021 rankings. A few weeks before these rankings were released, we were ecstatic to learn that DUT was ranked second in South Africa and 102 in the world by the Times Higher Education's Young University Rankings 2021. We are proud that in just a matter of 12 months, we have been recognized internationally on 4 occasions. There are many other accolades we've earned in our centers of research and engagement, including through a number of our student societies. Like Ronald Barnett implores us, I need not only share the lessons, but synthesize them into something new and innovative and more inspiring, hopefully. Newton's third law of action and reaction tells us this. When two bodies interact, they apply forces to one another that are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Somewhat echoing this artistically, Yeats poignantly reminds us that the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. In the two paragraphs I quoted from a recent edition of Meaning, I argue that despite our best intentions at DUT to cultivate a shared culture of responsibility and accountability, our people are not immune from the influences of society's trajectories that may be repulsive and ugly. Indeed, DUT has the dark history of the worst being full of passionate intensity, thus drowning the ceremony of innocence, because the best lacked all conviction to fight against all of that. While we work hard to empower the best, we could accelerate our trajectory to greatness. The remnants of the worst that are full of passionate intensity may continue to exert a force that is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. While we seek to garner our momentum towards greatness, there are those who seek to apply some friction and cause inertia. What does this mean for you as a new DUT staff member? DUT is committed to making an impact internally, but ultimately externally. Part of our raison d'etre as a university is ultimately to contribute towards improving the lives and livelihoods of our broader society. You therefore have a plethora of choices. Like in Peter Evans' parable, the choice to become that tea maker whose disappearance got noticed almost immediately because of the impact he or she was making on the lives of his or her colleagues, no matter what perceptions others may have had of his or her position within the organization. Or the choice to become that official whose disappearance could not be noticed, since she or he would not have added or created any value to the organization. Akin to Barnett's idea of higher education, the choice to limit yourself to just learning passively in a monkey see, monkey do manner, or the choice to use your learnings creatively to synthesize more that has never existed, never learned, and never experienced before. Learning from Newton's third law, the choice to act or the choice to just react with equal magnitude or Yeats's intensity, but in the opposite direction as DUT surges forward to greatness. Akin to the looters and anarchists, we witness the choice to loot and destroy, or the choice to build, preserve, and even grow the little we have as a country or as an institution. Akin to Yeats' lyrical poetry, the choice to be the best person that does not lack conviction, or the choice to be the worst person who causes suffering and degeneration with passionate intensity. In accordance with our Envision 2030, you have the choice to live up to DUT's values and principles, work hard towards the achievement of DUT's objectives, and propel DUT to greatness, or the choice to apply friction and inertia and retard DUT's greatness. My hope is that you bring the foresight, the creativity, the energy, the determination, and the discipline that will propel DUT's trajectory of greatness and much further. Choose wisely. Once again, welcome to DUT. Thank you very much.